Oh,
I-
why do you keep shouting?
because you want me to speak up.
I've lost my hair thing.
Is it? Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not starting it from scratch again.
No, don't. This is an inimitable style, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm at.
I've lost my hair thing.
Right. Well, I'll start talking because I've just recently watched the newest Stranger Things.
Yeah, keep talking.
I can't.
Yeah, you can.
You're distracting me.
It's funny. Go.
And it just made me think again. Okay.
I'll do.
Right. Yeah. I wrote about this when the first one came out. I think it is interesting. Obviously, it's
on his blog.
Yeah.
That he does one thing about every 5 years.
Spot. I might write something else.
He did a talk on Richie Allen's show about this particular blog, and then didn't do nothing ever again.
Well, we're doing this, aren't we? This is.
Don't move your feet because this is precarious.
All right.
Yeah, we're doing this.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of stuff in there. I mean, obviously there's references to 80s TV and film, so it's got all that sort of self-referential stuff. But
what's that mean?
It's sort of referring back to similar things, and that style of TV films. It's sort of a fanboy thing. Anyway, but more importantly, it struck chords with me because it started off with a lost child, if you like, because the character Will disappears and he's in this alternative dimension, the Upside Down. It's got all these references to all these sort of things that we talk about alternative dimensions and paranormal. Of course, there's references to an MK Ultra type thing. Because
so I started watching this latest series with Mark, and I think the MK Ultra sort of child abuse, it was kind of just hinted at last time, but it's actually showing it a bit more. So I had a bit of a nervous breakdown and decided it was too hardcore for me, this new series.
I think it was always in there quite a lot. There was that.
I don't know, why did I have such a strong reaction to it then?
It wasn't so much that. It wasn't the sort of laboratory.
I can't remember. I know I had a strong reaction. What was it again?
It was a character that was in these school toilets, and it was like a voice of her mother, and it was
fucking hell, yeah.
She,
yeah, abuse. It was abuse.
Yeah. That was, I think, the main thing. But yeah, there's a lot of references there about that sort of mind control sort of situation, because and supposedly it was influenced by the Montauk stories, legends, conspiracy theories, whatever you want to call it.
Well, real life experiments.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in it. I mean, I don't know if I believe everything about Montauk, what's been said.
What's been said?
Well, that it was an experimental program in this area of, I think it's north of New York, Montauk.
Yeah, I think it's where Lovecraft was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he was meant to be in that area, which obviously, I imagine Thomas Sheridan would have a lot to say about that, about maybe how Lovecraft has created some monstrous thing there. I don't know, but it talks about human experiments with kids, a lot of it, but then there was these stories that they'd actually made horrible monsters appear, physically manifest, and they run riot and cause.
Is this the actual Montauk or just Stranger Things now, or both?
Both. So I'm not saying it's not true, because Well, I certainly find it sadly too believable that there was these sort of experiments going on, because we do know with MK Ultra, although they only admit to a tiny proportion of it, but we know there's been all sorts of experiments going on with poor, unfortunate, unknown, innocent people, and all these sort of psychological manipulation, and that also know that US military did also have programs of having remote viewers and other people with psychic abilities, and getting them to try and harness that for military purposes. So that all figures within Stranger Things narrative. It's all like this government secret.
You haven't finished watching this series yet, though, have you?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, is there going to be spoilers?
No. I'm not. I'm only really talking in general terms. But I mean, for me, the reason it struck chords, because it's these themes that I'd found in my academic work, and now it sort of strikes chords again with things that I've learnt more recently in, for want of a better term, conspiracy alternative information that I've found out about more likely since. But it's got, again, which you see so many times, there's lost children, and what I identified in my book about so many of those stories about lost children, they also have stuff about time, and there's things about flips in time, and I suppose you could put sort of alternate worlds type things into that as well, and that seems to be connected intimately to this lost child figure. So I thought that was, and there's something about the 1980s, which is where Stranger Things is set. There seem to be I'm going to struggle to think of any now, but a number of different sort of series or films that were set in the 80s, and it was like, why the 80s? I'm sure, yeah, there's a logical reason for it. You could say, like, the people that are making these programs now, who are in a position where they're established and they can get these films or TV programs produced as directors or writers, there were people like us who were kids in the 80s. So if they're setting a story around kids, then it's not surprising that they're going to put it in a time which was their own childhood. But I do think, again, it's not something I can firmly put my foot on. Put my foot on. I can put my foot in it. But I think there's something about the 1980s.
When I think of the 1980s, the big change for children in the 1980s was we started getting electronic games.
It was a start in so many ways of
like
the modern world. Yeah.
That's Pac-Man.
Brilliant.
And then there was... I thought I was doing the impressions.
Oh.
You've just had 20 bloody minutes. I thought I was going to do impressions. Go on, do your peacock.
Oh, no, that went wrong in my throat. Okay.
It's him again.
Hey, keep talking.
No.
I thought you were doing a space
interrupted.
Doing a Space
No,
Invaders
I'm not
thing.
doing it anymore.
No, all right.
I don't even get a chance to do a fucking impression of a space invader.
Go on then.
My point is, if I'm allowed to get a word in actual... I sat and listened to you. Look at you.
I'm listening to you. I was listening to Walter because
They think you're so nice, and I'm the bad one.
My peacock impression has caused me...
It's going to cause you more than that in a minute.
Mm.
So, when they invented the telly, it was to try and communicate with dead people. That's what it was actually for.
Is it Thule Society?
Pardon?
Thule Society?
I've no idea. Can't remember. I don't remember things like that. He does. I just remember like vague concepts. So, what I'm trying to say is, we live in an electric universe, and electronics when we were in the 80s was, we went from dolls and prams and puzzles to, if you're going to let me do it this time, and pew, 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 and ha, 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 ha. That's Simon. Lots of electronic things. And Donkey Kong. Was that the 80s? Anyway, so the electric stuff, I think, can, well, they use electricity to find ghosts and things and spirits and things, and so I think that, like, explosion in the 80s of all these electronic gadgets, we just had more electronic gadgets, didn't we, in the home, has got something to do with whatever, I don't know, it just feels as if it's got something, and we all got video recorders, didn't we? And
see, this is really interesting.
I know
that you mentioned that, because I hadn't talked about, you haven't seen the latest series.
I haven't seen it.
And I hadn't mentioned anything about it, but one of the things that struck me about this series, I thought of stuff about the Electrical Universe, because there's the whole, a big thing in this story is when they go between the worlds to this upside down alternative reality, they sort of communicate with their friends who are in the real world, and it's through electric lights, like this scary sort of demonic character. When he's sort of around, sort of lights go on, and then when half of them are in the alternative world and some are in the the normal reality, that they can communicate this between the two by lights.
So I think all this telly programs or whatever about the 80s is something to do with, like, the fact that some people say that demonic possession has got, like, more. Some people say that like things like they're seeing more Mothmen or more shadow whatevers, and all these, like, things that potentially could always be around us and, like, just there and there, but just tuned into Radio 1 and Radio 2, and we're just on, like, Kiss FM. So all the electric that started, it didn't start in the 80s, but it went, have it.
It went to a different level.
Took it to a different level and maybe opened up this, like, little cracks.
Now that's another interesting connection.
I'm quite good. I'm quite.
We're coming together.
I've not even seen it.
No, so again, another thing I was thinking of, when I was thinking about 80s and time, and I started looking at your old CERN and the particle accelerators,
Which is very concerning. That's not a joke.
So
Every time.
yeah, good. Yeah, everyone loves it every time.
Well, I love it.
So I think the first one may have been in the late 50s in America, and there might have been another one in the 60s, but then there were, I think, 3 or 4 that started up in the 70s, and then I think CERN started in 85. So
That was my best year. I liked 1985.
I'm pleased. So
Wow. Rah skirts.
well, that's that's your own,
Feathery earrings.
that's your own little time travel in a way, isn't it? It's it all connects in with stuff about memory and
Pointy shoes.
big hair. You now need to put some images on of you in your 80s.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe there is something in that as well. That's all part of it. The thinning of the veil. Because I remember actually when you mentioned Mothman, when we were listening, it was on Stephen Campion's show, wasn't it? And I can't remember the name of the chap that was talking about him, but we might be able to put it in the comments or
No, I
something.
can't be bothered. Look it up yourself. What have we got to do?
We're
all
not
the
giving
hard
it.
work?
We're not giving him much to work on. But
Why
anyway,
have we got to do all the hard work? It was
It's-
Stephen Cambion, who we don't follow anymore. We used to really, really love because he was like sarcastic and funny. And then, yeah, gone off him, but he's still good. He did this. He started doing like some serious kind of documentaries, not really, but instead of slagging off people, he started doing some interesting stuff. And he did one on the Mothman. It's really interesting.
yeah. So there was a guy that I think he's part of a group that had done extensive research at Mothman, and that was it? I think it's in the Chicago area.
Oh yeah,
particularly.
yeah. They reckon there's some dark energy in Chicago, mind.
And there were a huge amount of Mothman and similar sort of paranormal sightings. And then I think Stephen Cambion said, "Well, is there anything sort of experimental, military, or?"
And there was.
Yeah, and they got a particle accelerator.
Just
Just
down
outside,
the road.
just down the road.
Oh Christ! I don't know. They're building a new one somewhere, aren't they? Where's that to? Probably Trowbridge up the road. Wouldn't fucking surprise me.
Well, yeah.
We're going to
I mean,
Norway, and there was a Norway Lights.
You mean the spiral?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's always the lights, which might be stronger. Which we might get a prettier light show if we can go, but
Because the sun is throwing
sun
shit at
flares,
us.
which is
But it's got nothing to do with climate change. The sun, right? I said to Mark today, okay, you got a candle and a fucking ice cube, and the candle spits a bit of candle at the ice cube, and the ice cube melts. They'd say that's got nothing to do with that candle, mind. That's because you didn't fucking recycle your yogurt pot, Liz. You twat. I'd go.
So yeah, as I was looking at solar flare stuff, I found some green website, and it's like, scientists are saying, there's going to be much more solar flare activity
It's got
in the next few
nothing to
years,
do with the sun.
and it said
That's
no.
what it said.
It said that's got nothing. It doesn't affect climate change.
Doesn't affect climate change. The sun throwing lots of sunny shit at Earth doesn't affect us.
But
It's because of yogurt pots
man-made CO2, which
and
is
diesel.
about like 1,000th of the Earth's atmosphere.
And what? Let's talk volcanoes.
Well, yeah, I'm not. I can't remember figures, but someone was pointing that there's been recent volcanic eruptions. I think you said Mount Etna.
Eruptions.
I think someone else might have posted about another one in sort of last.
Do you
few
know how
weeks.
much CO2 that shit spits out? Quite a bit. So
I was gonna say, do you know much?
scientific. So I
forget
say
the figures, but
ban
it's-
volcanoes.
It's
Ban them.
way
Ban the volcanoes.
beyond
Ban them.
what humans can.
Volcanoes. I'm sorry, but we wouldn't have we wouldn't live in Bath is a volcano. Did you know that? That's why we've got hot springs there. It's like a big valley, and then up, come down right at the top there. It is an actual volcano, Bath. People that live in Bath say don't talk such shit. I'm like, fuck off.
That's one of the more intelligent conversations.
Why do you think we've got those fucking hot springs, you complete wanker? I'm not being funny, but all of this shit, it's been happening for millions and millions of... Wow, some people say it's not millions of years. Some people think it's not as long as they say it is. And we're due another one. Which is typical, because I'm doing really well on my diet. Literally, I was having an existential crisis about fish and chips last night. This is bloody woman on Freeman,
Tessa Clark, I think her name was, something similar.
annoying woman. He thought she was great.
Well,
She's very clever.
interesting
The only
information.
reason she was annoying was because she made me think, what's the point in fucking going on a diet if there's going to be some bloody asteroid that's going to kill me next Wednesday? So why don't I just have chips? I couldn't come up with a good reason. So I'm going to.
That will learn them. Somebody, okay? Okay.
So anyway, we're due 1 or 10. It's something happening in the sky, the Palladians or something at the moment, isn't it, or something?
Well, who knows? Possibly it's a
No, I thought you said we look.
Yeah, I know.
Me, you and Connor led on a blanket in the garden staring at it a
Is it
few
called
years
the
ago.
Pleiades or something?
I don't know.
It's where some comet used did come near the Earth in the past, and you got these sort of rocks that come through the Earth's atmosphere, and
It'd just be fucking typical. I get to my ideal weight, and that one of them lands on my head. That would just be typical. But where do you think all these bloody, like, where do you think the bloody, what's that Grand Canyon come from? You know, where do you think all these like craters and God knows what, and you know the fact that we're not still glued onto Norway or France or Holland or whatever's over there, I don't really take a lot of notice of it. I did type in instead of geography. Like I say, I've no fucking clue where I am, but I can type you a letter really quickly. And what's more useful? I'm not a tour guide.
everyone uses a computer these days.
He's so quiet. Don't start.
I only said it quietly, so you didn't hit me.
I'm gonna hit you. So if it wasn't for climate change, we'd still be glued onto Holland or France or Switzerland or whatever, Norway or what is it? Probably Holland. Doggerland.
That means something completely different.
No, it doesn't. What are we doing? So we have these sort of conversations.
Yeah.
So we thought we'll sit with a bunny cushion and.
The bunny cushion wasn't part of the conversation.
Yeah,
You just brought that in.
I wanted it. It's comfy like that.
That's all right.
So these are the sort of conversations that we
comfort
have.
Yeah.
And we just press play.
Yeah.
So sorry. So anyway,
Well, if
electricity.
you've watched it, you've only got yourself to blame. You know.
Good point, Mark. It's a bit like watching the royal family.
Not, you know,
No, not them.
the funny ones.
I think we've gone off track, Mark.
No, this is what we do in our inimitable style.
We do this in real life.
Yeah, we've bounced.
Let's get back
along.
onto a track.
What track do you want to get on?
Yes, I think.
It's interesting you mentioned track, because we're right by train tracks,
No,
going into the Box Tunnel.
that's not interesting.
No, it is, because I think there is something in that. No, I think
Wait, a
there's
fucking
something.
train.
Eeh.
In what?
Yeah, well, no, it's an underground tunnel because there's all the stuff with
Oh,
Brunel.
Yeah, we've got underground bases underneath our house.
Well, there's that as well because they're around here.
And we have, because my mum used to do catering and used to take it down now. All right.
Yeah. So, well, Rudlow Manor, it's quite famous. It's been on Ancient Aliens and everything. Well, the gate has.
The gate has.
Yeah. So.
What did I say?
Yeah.
I said the minute we do this, he's going to believe.
Yeah.
No. What do you mean?
Oh, no, baby. No
Son!
Don't like. Oh, so we just got an outtake.
Oh.
A whim away, 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 a whim away. What's all that about?
You're supposed to keep going.
I ain't got the energy for that.
I thought you said you were good at the Wimmer ways.
I didn't say I was good at it. I said I couldn't do the eye bits.
But I'll try the Wimmer ways and you
No.
do the... Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
1, 2, 3. A Wimmer way, a Wimmer way. I'll hit you when you've got to come in. A Wimmer way, a Wimmer way, a Wimmer way. A Wimmer way, a Wimmer way. We've just realised that everything he's been rabbiting on about for the last fucking 20 minutes is probably you can't hear him.
Well, I don't know. That's not been scientifically
What's in there?
proven. Apple cider vinegar.
Let's have a bit.
Weirdo.
The first time he had this, his head nearly blew off.
Well, it's kill or cure.
So, we knew that had happened. What were we talking about? Careful, mind your big feet.
I think the last thing was like CERN particle accelerators, Mothman. So we went from the 80s and about how possible some sort of time flippage, thinning of the veil type stuff going on in
You know what?
technologies.
I don't think it is a thinning of the veil. I think it's cracks. Now, I was always struck by that Doctor Who. Because my favourite Doctor Who was Matt Smith, Amy Pond, and Rory. I thought they were brilliant together. And
They
it
were
was
really
all
good,
about this
actually.
crack in the wall.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me for some reason. That's paint.
And this is going to get boring.
Is that some of your
And
apple cider vinegar?
It's 100% not planned, but again,
What?
that was in Stranger Things. You know, when
We'll share it.
when the
Oh, was it?
Upside Down is breaking through to the modern world, there's a crack. You know, like an earthquake. You know, type cracks going through.
So this thinning of the veil, I think it's cracks.
Yeah. Okay.
Cracks in what though? The ether?
I don't know. Something got to look into more. People talk about plasma, don't they?
People do talk about
I think
plasma, Mark.
Actually, she didn't get onto it, but that woman that you were scared shitless of on Freeman.
I wasn't scared of
Tessa-
her.
Well, you know what I mean. What
Her
she was saying.
information.
But I don't think she got into
What's
it.
her name again? Tessa.
Clark. But another
Very good.
thing she's
Terrifying.
into is plasma physics. He did mention that, and I looked briefly at the website, but I haven't looked at it in detail. But
What is plasma? Something to do with electric, I bet. Like electric jelly, I reckon.
That could be. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I think plasma. Well, ether. So that's been talked about as because it was something that was referred to in previous centuries.
Well, the ether is like it's the twinkly sky water, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Maybe
yeah. That's
that
true.
we're all connected to. There's also that theory. Is it? I don't know. I'm going to call it field theory. I don't know. I've seen this thing where there's a field and it's got lots of. I watch a lot of things.
I sort of thought in my book that there was a sort of a ground of being this nothingness, but not in a different way to what we normally perceive as nothing. But it's actually the ground from which everything comes from
Ether.
in the physical world. So maybe that could be. It could be elements of that, and it's.
Oh, who fucking knows? The more you read, the less you fucking know.
Well, I mean, there's the whole crow thing, belief is enemy of knowing, which I think, yeah.
Well, he don't even believe in the sky.
Or space.
Space. He thinks crow triple whatever. He thinks it's luminaries. And he did that famous footage of, it's probably not famous, but
Well.
the lunar wave.
And then more recently, he's seen about there being
Two suns. Crow 777, 2 R's.
Well, he said we heard him say about a week after you'd said it completely independently that a lot of the chemtrails you see seem to be over where
Over
the
the
sun's
sun.
where the sun's.
Oh, I
gonna
came
be.
up with that myself, and then he said it.
Yeah.
It's like, so, and then somebody else is saying, oh, the sun is giving us a download, and
That was on Sheep Farm. That's what
yeah, and that's why the lockdown happened. They wanted us to not be outside to get the download, and they were saying on the sheep farm, some people went mental because this download, you know, like a lot of people awoke, didn't they? And literally before the fucking lockdown, the chemtrails hiding the sun was every day, wasn't it, Mark? Every single day, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, always in front of the sun coming up usually. It always was. And then you got this stupid gates. We're gonna hide the sun or something.
Right, as if they haven't been doing that for years anyway. They did, I think, a bit like now, right here in the UK at least. because we said today, oh, there's no chemtrails, and saying no because for the agenda they want it promoted that it's really hot and it's oh my god climate change. So the last thing they want to be doing is putting the chemtrails up to suddenly make it go cloudy and
every single
like they do normally.
Well, every single bloody bank holiday, was it this year or last year? Every single bank holiday was shit, wasn't it? Was that this year or last year? We even said about it. Sunny bank holiday, chemtrails.
Yeah, I mean...
There was that day where I wouldn't even go outside. It was so bad. Do you remember? I closed all the doors and the windows. You could literally... And it was those bombs. It wasn't just chemtrails. It was those... We see a lot of those... Where we live, we see a lot of those bombs that literally come out of the plane. Then there was that day... When we saw the moon, I know we've spoken about this before, we saw the moon sinking about 3 seconds flat, didn't we, Mark?
Yeah.
It was giant. I'm not making this up.
No.
We were walking out to work, and the moon was like really there, and it just went bloop. Did it or did it not do that?
Yeah.
We were like, where's the fucking moon just gone, and why has it just done that, and why is it doing an impression of the sun? The sunset's like slow. The moon went giant, blop. What the fuck was all that about?
I mean,
that was a weird.
I mean,
we've both seen that at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much around the moon in all different ways. I mean, obviously, in terms of pagan religion and all this sort of thing, it's obviously of massive importance, and of course, it plays an incredible part in the seasons and in the cycles of the Earth. But there is a thing, mainstream scientists. It's like scientifically, the moon shouldn't be there. It doesn't. It breaks rules of physics. Mainstream rules of physics that a moon that big shouldn't be in the orbit it is around a planet of the size of the Earth. There's various mainstream scientists that have come out and said, well, actually it shouldn't work. Shouldn't be there in that form.
But it wasn't when did it not just fall out of the sky? But it doesn't do that. It usually just like it's always there, but it's a bit faded.
Oh, and then there's all this stuff recently in there. Like almost every month, there's this is a blood moon. This is a whatever moon. This is the biggest moon since like 6 years ago.
I reckon they're trying new ones out.
It seems nearly every month. You
trying
never
out a
used
new
to
one.
Have that sort of stuff. Oh yeah, this is the blood moon. This is the
It reminds
so-and-so
me
moon.
of like slides. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. When you have your glasses done like that. And they go like, oh, what about now? Oh, what about now? It's like different moons or different layers or luminaries. Oh, let's try that red one. Oh, let's try the super blue fox, wolf, spider, peacock moon.
You nick me bloody apple cider vinegar. Get over
I just want a little bit of it.
Yeah.
We decided that we were just going to chat shit and we. Work.
We've achieved our goal,
done
so
it.
That's something to tick off. I was going to say, like the absence of chemtrails, that was similar in the early days of the first lockdown. It was nice weather. They didn't do it then because I mean.
Well, they couldn't. Oh, there's no planes. Well, what the fuck is that then?
Yeah. Well, there was for that, but I think it suited them. Because for a lot of people, there was a whole, this is actually quite nice.
Yeah, it was like a really weird, summery, long, weird, a little bit
lockdown.
Anxious-inducing Christmas.
It's all right because we don't have to work and, the sun's shining and, this is actually not that bad. And you actually, anyway. So then that helped to fuel what they're pushing now about climate lockdowns, which they're talking about. Has been thrown out there.
Well, that's what they're doing with all this. It's scary. The sun's scary. Everybody stay in. We didn't go to Oxford. We were supposed to go and see Ben this weekend, and we didn't because, to be honest, I do get a migraine when I'm out in that sun.
Yeah, you don't do well with heat.
No.
So
So we cancelled that, but I think I would have done it even if it wasn't for the BBC scaring everybody to death.
He don't do well with heat, but the point being, a lot of and some people, their work's not doing this, or some services is this and that's not
They're
happening.
cancelling some services.
So it's a little bit like around Christmas when there wasn't official actual lockdowns in a lot of cases, but because they put a fear in people
were locking themselves down.
People cancelled things, going parties and that kind of thing anyway. So they locked themselves down out of fear. So it's not like now they even have to bring in rules and regulations so much. They just need to put fear and bloody guilt trips on
Pavlov's dog.
Yeah.
But this woman last night says, "Oh, this is why I might as well."
It's the apple cider divvy. It's doing me good.
We'll just wait then. This woman last night who we listened to on Freeman, well, that's why I'm going to go and have a bag of chips in a minute, because she's like, oh, well, the Illuminati know that we're due another catastrophe, and they obviously they're going to need some of the planet, so they've got to get rid of most of us, etc. Because when a catastrophe happens, they don't want like millions of us going, no, that's my cabbage, get out, I'm having that bunker, give me that strawberry, because there's like only 3 strawberries, and
we had one of them here.
We had one of them here.
Yeah, so yeah.
I gave it to Shiva. Oh god, that's another thing, she said. Oh, so they think, oh yeah, the Illuminati or whatever know there's going to be a catastrophe because they do, and because they know all the timings, and there's going to be a big catastrophe, and like because we're due one, so they're getting rid of most of us so that the bugs that's only left to eat, they'll be able to, like, there's only 3 bugs and a couple of strawberries, they don't want us having them.
They'll have the strawberry and we'll have the bugs.
No, they won't. We won't be alive. Me and Mark decided we can't be bothered with it. I might have decided. No, you decided. You said if it gets to the point where all we got to do is like live in a bunker and eat a fucking bug, then no, I can't be bothered with it.
No, I can't bother with that. No.
So this woman scared us half to death about that, and then she said, "This is." Well, it should have scared you too, Mark. You're not scared that there's going to be a fucking asteroid that's going to kill us?
No, because if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, but what if it happens in Melksham and we're not killed, but we're a little bit debilitated and there's just one strawberry?
I'll do a kamikaze dive
No, you
over
won't.
a cliff or something.
No.
We're not near a cliff. Eh? What?
So anyway, so she said we shouldn't bloody well be like saying yay Shiva or Shakri. We should be saying yay Shiva and yay Jesus and yay Buddha and yay all the gods and Nordic gods and all this, that and the other, because she says it's them. Because they are from bloodlines, I don't know what she's going about. Some of them are from Venus. I don't think she actually meant they were from Venus. But Venus, when one of this group was around, Venus came in and fucked something up. Something to do with Mars. And then Mars threw the water at us. And then, so the people that were around at the time, they're like, oh, well, I resonate with the Venusness. And so all the religions that like love Venus is basically them. You might have to go and listen to it yourself. Freeman, we're members, so we can listen to 2 hours.
It was something about Venus coming into the solar system and that Mars was in the position where Earth is now. So that's where
Venus came along.
I mean, obviously, there's been a lot about there being a civilization on Mars. You got the face of Mars.
Pushed Mars or something, and then all the water from Mars fell off and landed on us, and that's why we got the floods. She did say that. There's that bloody cat. Oh no, it's a nice one. She did say that.
Hold on. I thought it was something like it knocked. Mars was round where Earth is now,
and knocked
so that was the the okay place to live. So that's where people did live.
Yeah.
And then
Venus also came in.
yeah, knocked Mars out.
Back
So
away.
then suddenly there was all these cataclysms and floods on Mars. It was like a cataclysm on Mars where people were living.
No, all
So
the
they
water
actually-
fell off of Mars and came onto us, Mark Froud. That's what she said. She did say that. That's why there's no. That's why there's no bloody sea on Mars now. We've got it.
Yeah, because it went to the different places. in
And
the
I
solar system.
reckon that's where the jellyfish came from. And the giraffes. It ain't normal.
That would have been a good point to stop that. That would have, on that bombshell.
Well, we could still stop it.
Yeah, but oh yeah, because you can go back and edit it.
Yeah.
So
Do you think we should?
I don't know. I mean,
I think we should.
That was quite a bombshell of like, because then you like leave them wanting more. They want to hear more about your
Should I
jelly.
just turn this shit
They
off?
want to hear more about the
Go in,
jellyfish.
it's gone.